Hey, what's going on, everybody? Samuel Akem here, and I'm back with another one. I appreciate you guys for tapping into yet another video. I don't got a full video today. Not going to do a full hour. We're going to be closer to probably 30 minutes today, but I still got some really good topics for you. We got St. Francis reclassifying from D1 all the way down to D3. We have a question about fandom and what team you support. Andrew Luck has let go of Troy Taylor at Stanford. I told you I was going to talk about that last week. Moved it back to this week. And in the week that I decided to hesitate on it, they ended up letting him go. So we're going to give some thoughts about that. A conference is putting scholarship caps on the conference. The SoCon conference, the Big Sky conference is also following suit. So we'll talk about that. Some schools are not going to be broadcasting their spring game. We'll give some thoughts about that. Montana got some new transfers out of the portal from USC. Some guys who could potentially be difference makers. And then Fran Brown, Deion Sanders were trying to do a spring game. The FBS competition or oversight committee decided against that. And we'll give why they gave the reason for that. But we're going to get all in that. Please make sure you guys hit the like button. Please make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Please make sure you guys leave me a comment down below. And we will get straight into it. Okay, first things first that I want to talk about is there will be no broadcast of the spring game this year. Make sure you get to Bobcat Stadium for your chance to see the Bobcats in action as they get ready for the 2025 spring game. So what does this mean for Montana State? In reality, it really means nothing. Montana State's not deciding to broadcast their spring game. I think this is in line with what a lot of schools are doing currently. A spring game historically has been an opportunity to showcase what you guys have done in the spring, to showcase the improvement you guys have made, to showcase what you guys potentially could look like in the fall. Obviously, it's inter-squad scrimmages, so you can only gain a certain level of information from that, but I think it's still good data that you give to the fans, and obviously it's still an event. People love to see their teams, people have great fandom, and they want to see their guys play, and that's what the spring game is about, celebrating the game of football, but also, a little update to the fans and the people who follow the teams on what's going on behind those doors, because not everybody is always open to spring practice. Spring practices are not always open to the media, so sometimes, you don't always have a good gauge during the springtime what your team is going to look like. Montana State is deciding we are not going to broadcast our spring game, and when I said I think this is in line with what a lot of people are doing, I think it's in line because historically that is what the spring game has been, but it has quickly turned into an opportunity for other schools to scout your guys out. So, hey, we went through spring practice this year. We felt like we weren't really, up to snuff. We think we need to add more in this spring transfer portal window. So let's go scout out some FCS spring games and see what we can poach. I don't blame any coach who decides not to broadcast their spring game. I don't blame any coach who decides not to do a spring game, because it just especially for FCS people in an era like this, it's so hard to retain your roster. You can't possibly hope that we're going to put on a showcase for our entire team. We just played in the national championship, so we have talented players here. We've already lost some in the portal. We can't afford to lose any more. So we're not broadcasting the spring game. There will be no eyes had on our spring game. And we're going to keep this all behind closed doors. I don't disagree with what Montana State doing. I honestly see value in what they're doing. And I think a lot of coaches are going to follow suit. You even heard about Matt Rule at Nebraska talking about not doing a spring game at all. Not even just not broadcasting it, not doing it in general. And, now that, seems like a lot of schools are taking some crumbs from what Matt Rule kind of whispered at during the beginning of the off season. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys like the fact that Montana's not broadcasting it? Montana State, excuse me. You guys like the fact that they're not broadcasting it? Do you guys think there's value in that? Or are you guys some disgruntled Bobcat fans who live across the state in Montana and aren't able to attend the game in Bozeman, and you're kind of, pissed off that you're not going to be able to watch the broadcast? Now, I don't 100% know if historically the game has always been broadcast. Somebody can let me know down below. Maybe they've only broadcasted for the last 5 years, and historically they usually haven't broadcast. I don't know. So you guys let me know down below. I think this is, really in line with what everybody else is doing. But you guys let me know, and I will move on. Okay. A few FCS conferences are deciding to add scholarship limits, scholarship caps. With the House settlement that's coming down the line, set to be voted on in April, I was reading this week. So that should be approved, whether it's approved or not. A lot of schools have been, preparing for what that looks like, and there are a few schools that are launching scholarship caps. So Sam Herder reported this last week that he was told for the 2025 season, the Big Sky will be at a 63 scholarship limit, which can be spread out over as many as 105 players. So with the House settlement, you get a roster cap. You don't have a scholarship cap, so you can offer as many scholarships as you want, but you have 105 roster spots. Now with that, conferences are allowed to add roster caps, and I think they're doing it for a competitive balance thing, because there are schools in the Big Sky Conference like Montana State and Sac State currently. Will they still be in the conference going forward? But there are two schools currently that have stated that they are going to be opting into the House settlement. So with that coming down the line, the Big Sky Conference is looking to put in some protections for some of their institutions who may not be opting in, and try to maintain some of that competitive balance. So with maintaining the 63 scholarship limit, that is a attempt to try to maintain that balance, that competitive balance. The current pre-house scholarship equivalency for FCS teams is 63 scholarship max that can be spread out over 85 players, partial scholarships. I don't really have a problem with this. I know that was one of the things that Kent Haslam mentioned when he sat down with the guys at the Grizz Fan Pod. He mentioned that, he envisioned an opt-in or opt-out all-in type deal where either the whole conference is going to opt in or the whole conference is going to opt out. And the main thing he mentioned with that was the competitive balance. I can 100% understand why they would keep the scholarship limit at 63, because there are a lot of schools that, even if given the opportunity to offer more scholarships, I'm not sure if they would be able to. It just becomes a money issue with a lot of these schools. It just becomes dollars, and I just don't know. I just don't think a lot of schools are able to handle that. Along with the Big Sky also announcing that they're going to be capping their scholarships at 63, the SoCon, Sam Herder also reports, the SoCon will announce today that it has set a football scholarship limit, this is earlier in the week, at 63, the current FCS max, for schools that opt into the House settlement voted on by the presidents. Opting in means new roster limits, but scholarship limits up to the roster max, 105 for football. However, conferences can set their own scholarship caps. The CAA did set a football cap. So I guess the CAA set a football cap, SoCon has set a football cap, and now the Big Sky has also set a football scholarship cap, which competitive balance, we want to keep things as even as possible. We don't want any outliers in terms of resources available, recruiting abilities. We want everybody to be playing on a level playing field, and this is an attempt at that. So kudos to those conferences for setting those scholarship limits. Kudos for those conferences for getting ahead of things and trying to, set some frameworks for what the next couple of years of college football are going to look like. I mean, this seems to be the model now. The House settlement seems to be a foregone conclusion, even though it still has to be approved. It seems like everybody's kind of gearing up for what that's going to look like. So do you guys think the scholarship limit cap is a good thing? Do you guys think the scholarship limit cap is a negative thing? Do you guys think the conferences should just let their players rock out, just let their schools, institutions rock out, and whoever, let the best man win? Or do you guys think there is value in providing framework for what this will look like going forward for all these institutions? You guys let me know down below, and I will move on. Okay, we got another FCS announcement. St. Francis will move from the Division I to Division III, the school announced. The Red Flash fell to Alabama State in the NCAA tournament last week. So I got an article here from St. Francis. It's written by Nick Costco of On3. I hope I pronounced his last name right. St. Francis University announced its intention to move from Division I to Division III in athletics Tuesday. The move will be made after summer 2026 competition. So 2025, they're going to play Division I. 2026, they're going to play Division I. And after that summer, starting in the 2026 fall, they will be a Division III institution. Now, there's a few questions that I have now, and also, is this only basketball? Is this the entire school? I think, well, yeah, St. Francis University. So football is going to be go down. Basketball is going to be going down. And one thing this makes me think about is like, man, it's just so, I feel like it's just so drastic. You go from Division I to Division III. I mean, that is a drastic jump, and there are just so many things that play into that. The men's basketball team at St. Francis just made the 2025 NCAA tournament, winning the Northeast Conference for just the second time in program history. 1991 was the first. The team lost in the first 4 last week. Let me read what the chairman and the Very Rev. Joseph Lehman, they released a statement. This was not an easy nor a quick decision for the Board of Trustees, Lehman said. The governance associated with intercollegiate athletics has always been complicated and is only growing in complexity based on realities like the transfer portal, pay for play, and other shifts that move athletics away from the love of the game. That is something that you've heard a lot of administrators, a lot of coaches, a lot of people who follow college sports, a lot of people who have been involved with college sports have mentioned that things are moving so far away from the love of the game. It's just a system that not a lot of people who are older or who have historically seen what college sports have been historically, I feel like it's something that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. For that reason, as a board, we aim to best provide resources and support to our student athletes in this changing environment that aligns with our mission, Catholic institution, and our community's expectations. The St. Francis Board of Trustees did an extensive review of their athletic program. Upon review, a move to Division III would be beneficial in their minds. So basically, they all had a meeting this offseason. They said, hey, things are changing in college sports. We got to make a change. What is going to make the most sense for what is going to make the most sense for every program at this institution? They had a meeting. They all decided that, hey, not NAIA, not D2. We're actually going to have to go down to D3 now. NAIA is a completely different institution, so they're staying within the house of the NCAA, but they're going all the way down to D3. I would love to kind of sit down with one of them and figure out, what were some of those bold points that you guys followed along in order to make this decision. Like, what were some of the things that stood out in making this decision? All of the universities, I'm reading another excerpt from the article on 3. All of the universities' offerings that are a core part of the St. Francis identity and student experience are reviewed by the board on an ongoing basis, including intercollegiate athletics, Lehman said. Based on the changes in athletics nationally, it would be a disservice to our student athletes and athletic department staff not to review and assess how we can best provide the resources necessary for them to be competitive. President Malachi Van Tassel also released a statement on the move. They forwarded to the next chapter of St. Francis are proud of the Division I history. I want to be clear. We are very proud of our Division I history and success and our student athletes. We know this transition may be stressful, he said. We would do everything possible to support our student athletes, their families, and our coaches and our staff and do right by you. So those are a few quotes from the people who went into making that decision. One thing that makes me think is like, man, I know for a lot of guys who go to college, that Division I is big, man. Like, I was super excited to go to Montana because it was my only Division I offer, but I had that Division I tag. My brother was a Division I player at Oklahoma State. I was very excited to have that Division I. I mean, it definitely is going to hurt St. Francis in recruiting, I think. I mean, playing Division I, potentially playing in the NCAA tournament versus playing D3 and playing in the D3 NCAA tournament is completely different, man. And I think it's going to be tougher to recruit. I'm sure they've probably lost some players in the portal. Football-wise, I'm sure that's not the greatest thing to hear. I'm playing D1 right now, albeit in the NEC, which is not very competitive. I'm playing D1, and I have a potential to win a national championship at this level in basketball and football. I'm not so sure about all the other sports, but I think from a resources standpoint, when they say resources, it's like, we only have certain resources at the Division I level. There's financial stressors on us at the Division I level that may be alleviated at the D3 level. We may have more resources at our disposal, be able to offer more programs, be able to offer more resources to our athletes if we move down to the D3 level. So that's something that they were mentioning at the end of the article, where they're very proud of their success. They're always looking for ways that they can better the experience for their athletes, and this seems to be a change that they hope is going to better the experience for their athletes. So you guys let me know what you guys think about St. Francis going down. I think it's kind of a bummer for some of those guys at that school. I mean, it's never happy to have to go down. Obviously, you want to be able to stay at the level you're at, compete at the level you're at, and they seem to be competing. They won the NEC. They made it to the NCAA tournament. They were one of the first 4 knocked out, but still, I mean, they're seeing success. For a school like St. Francis, I feel like that's a good level of success. But Will that be sustainable? I mean, I guess we'll see. We'll see what the recruiting looks like, but you guys let me know what you guys think about that, and I will move on. Okay, Andrew Luck has made his first big move as GM at Stanford. He has let go of former Sac State head coach Troy Taylor. He was the head coach currently at Stanford. He is no longer the head coach. Andrew Luck made it very short and simple. I no longer believe that Coach Taylor is the right coach to lead our football program. He became the GM in November. This is kind of where a lot of college universities are going. College athletics looks more like a professional model now. It doesn't look like an amateur model anymore. So we have to mirror the professional model. What do they do at the professional level? Every institution has a GM. The GM is the one making all the roster decisions. Now, I think what's a little bit different in the college realm than opposed to the NFL realm, I think the GMs are still the ones making the decisions on head coaching. Like, I think the GM is above the head coach, but I think a lot of times it can be kind of a collaboration between the GM and the ownership on letting coaches go or keeping coaches. And I'm sure this wasn't a decision that GM Andrew Luck made on his own, but a lot of colleges are moving towards the GM model. You saw OU hire Jim Nagy as their GM, renowned Senior Bowl director of player personnel. I mean, he's been doing a phenomenal job with the Senior Bowl. Now he's at OU, and they're building something there. A lot of schools are doing this. You need a GM. You need somebody to be able to build a roster. Head coaches are focused on building the best team, head coaches are focused on putting the roster I have in front of me together and putting the best X's and O's on the field to make that roster perform at its best. A GM, his only job is to give me the best roster possible so that I can win. And obviously, it's going to be a collaboration between head coach and GM on what players do we like, where are we trying to be heading in recruiting, all that good stuff. But we're talking about Troy Taylor right now. He has been let go as the head coach at Stanford, and there are reasons for that. So Juan Tai of ESPN wrote an article. Stanford head football coach Troy Taylor bullied and belittled female athletic staffers, sought to have an NCAA compliance officer removed after she warned him of rule violations, and repeatedly made inappropriate comments to another woman about her appearance, according to documents from a pair of investigations obtained by ESPN. A little bit more. After the first investigation, Taylor signed a warning letter on February 14, 2024, acknowledging he could be fired if the conduct continued, according to the documents. Additional complaints were documented in a second investigation that ended last July 24, but Taylor remains on the job. So this article was released March 19th, 2015. In a statement released by Stanford on Wednesday, Taylor said he was using the investigation to improve how I interact with others. I willingly comply with the investigations, accept the recommendations that came out of all of them, and use them as a learning opportunity to grow in leadership and how I interact with others, Taylor said. Taylor said in the statement, I look forward to continuing to work collaboratively and collegially with my colleagues so that we can achieve success for our football program together. So basically, this is very interesting because, there were some articles that came out about Taylor and his behavior at Sac State and, how he was being investigated and how he was still the head coach. And it so much seems a little bit like they were content with sticking with Troy Taylor. They were content with him being there. They were content with him being the head coach. It seems like after things became public, after there was public scrutiny, after people were able to give their opinion in the media, it seems that is when Andrew Luck decided to part ways with Troy Taylor, which, he's entitled to do whatever he wants. Maybe it's been a couple of 4 or 5 months for him since he took the job. He's been trying to get his bearings underneath him. Who knows? But Andrew Luck has decided to part ways with Troy Taylor. 2 not so successful seasons at Stanford. And this also makes me think about, so Troy Taylor got let go. They recently just brought over Andy Thompson from Sac State to be, I think, defensive coordinator, assistant head coach. I don't have it right in front of me, but I know he took a pretty decent job at Stanford, leaving his position at Sac State. Does that mean that I know a head coach leaves, he usually brings his own staff in. Does that mean Andrew Luck has not only fired Troy Taylor, but fired the entire staff? Or is it a situation like Troy Taylor's out? We don't know what you guys did. We're going to leave you guys here. We don't know. We'll let the next head coach decide. I guess that's all you can really do is you bring in the next head coach, let him decide what he wants to do with the staff. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They're parting ways with Troy Taylor. He didn't have a ton of success, but I think a lot of times when you take a job like a Stanford, it's going to take some years for you to get your guys in there and really bring the program up. Now, obviously, people in public want to see quicker success than that. They don't care about waiting. People don't care. The fans don't care. They want to win now. They want success now. So, and obviously, it's not even about the success. I don't think it's about the success at all. I think it's genuinely about what happened at Stanford. I think it's genuinely about I think it's about what he did. It doesn't have anything to do with his performance on the field. Although his performance, his players' play on the field wasn't great. I don't think that's what it came down to. But unless somebody sits down with GM Andrew Luck and ask him 100% why he decided to do it, that is what it is. Right now, all of Stanford's trust is in Luck, and for good reason. He has earned that. He has earned the chance to run his program through uncertain, even potentially dire times in the ever-shifting landscape of college athletics. It's his program now, and that means Troy Taylor is his coach, everything reflecting back on not just the school, but on the all-time great in charge of a new age job. I think this was right before somebody wrote another article right before he got fired. But Troy Taylor is gone as Stanford's head coach. Do you guys think this is the right decision? Do you guys think they made it the correct decision, or do you think this is just something that they did to kind of save face? It really seems like it can be something to kind of save face because you got to look at the timeline. He got hired in November. These reports, there were already multiple investigations that had been had into Troy Taylor's conduct. And there was a July investigation, and then there was a February investigation, both in 2024, prior to Andrew Luck taking the job. So you already knew about this conduct had you done your due diligence. Reports come out early 2025 about his conduct and about how he has been investigated, and it seems that the behavior has continued. Then, when things become public, that is when you decide to make a decision. I don't know. Maybe he genuinely... I don't know. Maybe it was... I don't know. You guys let me know down below, and I will move on. Okay, I got a question for you. Is it weird to be a fan of a school you didn't attend? The reason this question was interesting to me is because when I grew up, I was a Texas Longhorns fan. So, back in 2005... Longhorns, we all know Longhorns, USC. The Longhorns beat USC in the Rose Bowl to win the national championship. Vince Young standing up, the confetti's falling. I never forget that image of just Vince Young and his greatness as a college athlete. And I was like, man, that's my team. Orange, burnt orange. The Longhorns. Everything about it I just thought was so cool. And I was never a kid who was glued to the screen watching college football growing up. So I was a fan of the team, but I didn't, obviously in 2012 or 11, whenever Texas went and played against Alabama in the national championship, I was tapped in. But, I was never like glued every week. I didn't become glued every week until I got older, until I got to college. I cared so much about college football, and I started watching it every day, all day. Like, whenever I could watch it, I wanted to watch it. I don't think it's weird to be a fan of a team you didn't attend, but now that, I don't think that because of my experience. I also went to the University of Montana, and obviously Montana has amazing fandom, but I don't know. I don't know if there's people who didn't go to, because I feel like everybody I meet that went to the U or went to Montana State or went to a Big Sky school, they're a fan of that school because they're an alum. And I think a lot of times when you go to a school, it becomes a thing like you were on campus with some of these great players on the team. You were in class with some of these great players. Like, you were able to build relationships with a lot of these guys. So as you grow older, not only do you remember those experiences, you remember how those guys were in the locker room. You remember, those are just guys, those are just student athletes just like by me. But on Saturday, they're able to do this superhuman thing and go catch balls, pause, and go over top and all this stuff. I don't know. I don't think it's weird. I think there's a lot of people out there that can think it's weird to be a fan of a team that you didn't attend, but I don't necessarily think it's weird. I just think, I think that people have core memories. Like Vince Young, 2005, Texas. That was a core memory for me. Like, I vividly remember watching the confetti fall, watching Vince Young stand there and just thinking, this is the greatest thing ever. And I couldn't, I don't remember the game as a kid. I remember the confetti, but I remember watching the game as I got older, watching the 30 for 30 and watching like, man, like this is amazing, but I don't even remember the game. I just remember the confetti. And I know when I talk to people, especially people in Montana, because there isn't, well, we're talking about college right now, but when I talk to people, I know that there's many different reasons that you can become a fan of a team. It doesn't necessarily have to be because you're alum. I just think that's how it is, because I just think you see something, you experience something. I mean, a lot of people don't remember what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And I remember how Texas and the Longhorns in 2005 made me feel as an 7 or 8 year old young kid watching the greatest game ever. I mean, although Texas won that game over USC, who was supposed to be a 3-time national champion football team, I mean, that game was amazing. Back and forth, scoring, athletes all over the field, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, I mean, Lindale White, I mean, the works. They had amazing teams. They had amazing athletes. I'm not even naming all of them. Vince Young just great players. I remember just how that scene looked to me. So, no, I don't think it's weird. You guys let me know. Do you guys think it's weird to be a fan of a school that you didn't attend? Are you guys a fan of a school that you didn't attend? And how did you become, I mean, how does that work? I don't think it's weird, but I think a lot of people out here, the reason I got this question is because I was scrolling social media. I saw somebody say something about somebody being a fan of a school they didn't attend, and they thought it was weird. And I was like, man, like, I don't really think it's weird, because that's how and maybe I'm just from a biased standpoint because that's how I grew up. But I don't think it's weird. You guys let me know down below what you guys think about that, and I will move on. Okay, Montana has got a transfer from Solomon Tuliaupupu. He transfers to Montana out of USC. He's a former 4-star high school prospect. He's a former Buckus Award winner. He's a former All-American. He played 21 games at USC, and now he's at Montana. Thomas Goldkamp wrote an article about him. Former USC defensive lineman Solomon Tuliaupupu has signed with Montana out of the NCAA transfer portal. He entered the portal on February 13th. He is one of the longest tenured players in college football. He began in 2018, spending the last 7 years with the Trojans before looking for a new home via the transfer portal. Tuliaupupu has had multiple seasons ruined by injury. The last was in 2023 when he suffered a season-ending injury in training camp. Despite being around for 7 seasons, Tuliaupupu contributions have been limited to just 2 years worth of action. He played both in 2022, 14 games, and 2024, 8 games. In 2022, he emerged with 10 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. You could start to see the potential he might have as an edge rusher up front. Then came his devastating 2023 injury. However, Tuliaupupu got back on the field last fall and recorded 13 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack, and a fumble recovery. He played in 8 games during the season, not quite getting a full run throughout the year. Now he'll get a chance to prove himself at a lower level and one of the oldest players in college football. So this guy has been around for some years. 2017, just for reference, 2017 is the year after I graduated high school. I graduated high school in 2016. 2017 would make him the class after me. That means this guy has to be 25, 26. I'm 27 going on 28. So this guy's got to be going 26 going on 27. I mean, these guys are old as hell. These guys are old as dirt playing college athletics. Nonetheless, he's on Montana's football team. He's looking to bring some bolstering ability to that defensive line. He's hoping to bolster that defensive line, hoping to help them out on the defensive line. I think anytime you get a former 4-star, anytime you get a guy who has a lot of pedigree, whether it be at the high school level or at the college level, it's a good thing at the FCS level. I don't know. Obviously, you got to work hard. Obviously, you want to stay healthy. It seems like this guy has had some injury history on his throughout his career. So the hope is that he's going to stay healthy. He's going to be on the field. He's going to be able to provide. For this Montana football team. It seems that he is going to have to transfer in the spring. I don't know. It says he entered in February 14th. I don't know what he entered the portal for at February 14th. It seems like that's a little bit outside of the transfer portal window. Now, I don't know if he's at Montana currently and going to be ready for, it seems like he got here mid-spring. He most likely is going to be in the spring transfer portal window, correct? Somebody let me know if you have a definitive answer on that. But I think he would be the spring transfer portal window. And so, therefore, he'll be the summer. And then fall camp is really when you're going to get a good look at him. But exciting news for Montana. Anytime you bring a transfer with some pedigree in there, with some game experience at a school like USC, it's always exciting. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Hopefully he can bring some good juice to Montana. He's got some game experience, and everything is good. So you guys let me know what you guys think about that, and I will move on. Okay, last but certainly not least, the FCS Oversight Committee has denied the proposed spring game between Colorado and Syracuse. Unfortunately, the FBS Oversight Committee went to Fran Brown, went to Deion Sanders, and said, absolutely not. And there were some reasons for that, and we're going to get into that. On Friday, the decision from the NCAA was made official. The FBS Oversight Committee will not recommend a waiver to allow the game to take place. It argued other programs are too far into spring practice to schedule such a game, as well as academic concerns and potential recruiting advantages not available to other programs. You know what I think this is? The FBS Oversight Committee is saying, first off, I love the idea. Great idea. I'm mad that we didn't do it before. But we are already in spring practice. We're already in the midst of our spring season. We don't have the opportunity to be able to do the same thing. So let's put a pause on that for 1 year and let's revisit it next year. Once we're all ready, once we're all prepared, yeah, you can go ahead. But I think this idea by Deion and Fran Brown is absolutely amazing. I mean, I don't know why more schools haven't done this. Obviously, health is one of the main things that you tap into. I mean, you want to make it out of spring healthy. Nothing is worse than losing a key player during spring. I'll go back to 2021, actually 2020, and this might have actually been 2019 or 2020 spring. 2020 spring starts. The first spring practice of that 2020 spring, Marcus Knight tore his ACL. Devastation. It might have actually been the start of spring 20. It was either 2020 spring or 2021 spring. I'm going blank on my timeline right here. But nothing's worse than losing a key player during spring practice. So, but those teams are trying to look past that. Obviously, you can tell your guys, keep each other up, try to keep each other safe. We're not trying to hurt each other. We're trying to get some good looks here. We're trying to get a good spring game in here. We're trying to get you guys to be able to play against some other competition. And I think the idea is great. But the Oversight Committee has turned it down because of basically competitive balance. No other school has had the opportunity to do this yet. I also think the FBS Oversight Committee is probably trying to figure out a way where they can all monetize this, because obviously money is going to be a big thing. There's going to be fans that draw out to these things, because if you're having two other schools play against each other in the spring, let me let you know something. America loves football. And if there's an opportunity for us to monetize the game of football at one of these spring games, we are going to do it. Televising it. Now, I don't know if this things will be televised, because I think that's one of the biggest things right now with all of this spring stuff is we don't want to give anybody an opportunity to see what we have behind in our locker room. We don't want to give anybody an opportunity to see that. But I think it could be something that could draw a lot of fans in person. I think it could be something that could, give people something to talk about during the spring. I feel like during the spring, things can get kind of slow during the spring at times. Spring games, you got the draft. All of that stuff is going on, the combine, pro days. But I think with talking about the schools and themselves, the players who are currently there, sometimes it can get kind of slow. So, but the FBS Oversight Committee has said, Deion, not today, not right now. Come back to us in a couple of years. We will revisit the topic, and then we can talk about getting something going. So, I don't know. I think it's fair that they've turned it down, that they denied it this year. I think the concerns that they voiced, I don't think it has anything to do with academic concerns and potential recruiting advantages. I could see the potential recruiting advantages, but I think more than anything, it's just about all those head coaches or personnel in that FBS Oversight Committee are basically saying, hey, that is a great idea. We value the idea, but we would all like the opportunity to do the same thing. So you're going to have to pause it for a year. Next year, revisit it. Talk to us about it in November. Talk to us about it in December when the football season's coming to an end, where we all can talk about it before we've started spring ball, and then we'll come back to the table. And most likely, you'll be able to do it. Now, I don't know if that's a for sure thing that they'll most likely be able to do it, but it just seems like they're saying no right now. So in the news report, Griffin McVeigh, Deion of On3, this is an article from On3. Deion Sanders and Fran Brown set out to do something college football has never seen before. On Friday, the decision was made official. The FBS Oversight Committee will not recommend. I don't think there's much about, what could come of this. They were trying to do it like a 3-day event to where it could also be like an educational thing. They'll do a spring game, but then they could also do, education things, NIL education. They can do, I don't know. I thought it was awesome. I thought the ideas that they had were great, but I think other schools want to be able to do the same thing. So it's a no for now. It's a yes for later, something that you say in the sales world. And we will see what they're able to do next year, but we'll probably be talking about this next year. Right now, it's a no. So you guys let me know. Did you guys think it's a good idea? Do you guys want them to be able to do this? Do you guys think it's bogus that the FBS Oversight Committee is turning it down? What do you guys think? You guys let me know in the comment section below, and I will move on. Okay. I want to thank you guys for tapping into another Akem'S analysis. I thank you guys for viewing my channel. I thank you guys for showing love. Please make sure you guys subscribe. 80% of you guys who are watching my channel right now are not subscribed to my channel. We need to get those numbers up. Got an interview coming out with the player this week. Got a breakdown coming out of a Montana State player this week. And yeah, just out here trying to do the thing. I appreciate you guys for continuing to stay consistent. I appreciate you guys for continuing to view my channel. I appreciate you guys for always showing love. Please make sure you guys hit the like button. Please make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. No hot takes or real talk this week. I am in the midst of a move, so there are other things going on. I couldn't necessarily prioritize the hot takes or the real talk this week. I'll try to get back into that next week. I do like that segment. So you guys let me know what you guys think about everything that went on in this video today. I love reading you guys' comments. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, comment down below, and I will catch you guys next time. See you later.